I have to keep reminding myself I bought this ship on purpose. That this ship is beloved, iconic, and that it's flown by millions of people, all of whom might be unreasonably upset if I said the wrong thing. So let's start with what it isn't. This is not a Firefly, and you will not be a leaf on the wind. Nor is it a functional but utilitarian Russian-built danger boat designed for long-haul pirate raids without a bathroom. It's not a cargo hauler, but it's not really a gunship either. It's not any of these things. For better or for worse, this thing is a bastard. This is the Cutlass Black. And I can't really bring myself to say I hate it, because I don't. But it really does go through every effort to make sure you don't like it too much. It is, in a word, frustrating. Because every time I've given up on this ship, it does something to make itself endearing. And when the planets align and you do manage to get this thing to cooperate, it's in a class of its own. The reasons why are pretty obvious. 4 size 3 fixed guns right there in the front, under direct control of the pilot. And 2 more if you have a friend. It can fit pretty much anything smaller than an Ursa in the trunk, or up to 46 SCU of perfectly legitimate salvage. By default, it comes with a fine quantum engine and a decent sized tank, which means you can make more than a few laps around the system without worrying about fuel. 16 missiles, 6 jump seats, and 2 engines strapped to the back, all for the extremely reasonable asking price of 1.3 million UEC. So it's cheap, too. On paper, this ship is a masterpiece. A cheap mid-size cargo hauler with enough guns to make any pirate blush. And let's be honest, that's the point. This is, first and foremost, a pirate brigantine, built for disabling larger cargo ships and making off with a chunk of the goods. And that right there hits a very specific place in my heart. Who hasn't dreamed about being a space pirate? Good old-fashioned thievery, smuggling, or just introducing people to the wrong end of your laser repeater. Take a job, get paid, keep flying. This is the kind of ship I want to make my home. Install some smuggling hatches, carve my name in the bulkhead, and name the whole thing after an ex-girlfriend. So it's all the more heartbreaking that this thing seems to be actively trying to kill me at any given moment. Like here, let's say I've just gotten a contract while I'm flying along. If I open up my Mobiglass to accept that contract, or set a new course, or ask permission to land somewhere, the Cutlass will immediately start pitching downward, all on its own. If you take any more than 15 seconds with that map, the only place you're going is into the ground. Or take the ramp here, for instance. It's basically the only way in or out of the ship if you've landed somewhere, and that's fine by me. I love cargo bay doors. But I have learned to stay far, far away from this thing when it's going down, else I get violently flung into the bulkhead. Or worse, pinned underneath while it slowly crushes me to death. Ugh. And that's assuming it decides to open up at all.
God damn it!
These multifunction displays here in the cockpit are a welcome wealth of information while I'm flying. It's a nice change of pace that I don't have to hunt down buttons to change any particular screen to what I need it to be. But This massive cluster of panels does eat up a good chunk of my viewing angle from the canopy. Anything below me is basically invisible, and these pillars don't really help that much either. And then there's this. Why is it up there? I need to point where I'm going with this targeting reticle, and that's up there. Why? And that's not all. These engines are huge, and one of the most visually impressive things about this ship. I mean, look at them, they're awesome. And they can do this. I mean, technically every ship has vertical takeoff and landing anyway, but this has engines that spin when you do it. Unfortunately, I'm reasonably sure they don't do much of anything. Let's say you're approaching a settlement to go legally obtain some loot. As you're coming in, you might notice that the Cutlass Black is intent on nosediving straight at the planet's surface. Aggressively so. You're going to be constantly wrestling the ship to keep her on point. You can fix this by letting off the gas or by flipping the back engines and slowing down automatically, coming in at a painfully slow pace. Or you can do this and go as fast as you want. No wobble, no fighting with the stick. Smoother than my undercarriage after a spa day. I'm not going to pretend to understand why the two engines at the back pointed down make the nose of the ship come up. It seems like that should probably be the other way around. But I am genuinely baffled how the lateral thrusters of this ship are exponentially more powerful and stable than the main ones. I think it might be magic. And there's more. Those main engines seem to be held in place by duct tape and unicorn tears. There is more than a decent chance you will lose at least one of these engines at some point. Either in combat or just because. And then it gets worse. Because there's enough anecdotal evidence to believe that when you do manage to limp back to a station to get those engines repaired, that they might not actually bother fixing them at all. Really? No, just run the B-roll. I can't with this right now. The engines that don't make sense might not get fixed. What is happening here? No, there's 4 variants of this hull, and they all have the same goddamn problem. I don't care if the corporate delegation is watching. I don't want to talk about how many guns it has. This thing is a death trap. I had to get a tetanus shot from sitting on the bed. I got stuck in that pilot seat for 3 hours when the mechanism jammed. Like Gong Ho Se Be Deo Se. It's trying to kill you, and it's stupid. It does have some issues, this ship. And it seems like the things I want to love about the Cutty Black don't actually love me back. But I don't need it to love me. And I don't even have to like it for it to do the job. If you're in the market for a cheap ship that hauls a good amount of cargo and lets you blow stuff up, well, I wasn't joking before, this ship really is in a class of its own. As in, it has no actual competition. There is literally nothing in the price range that will give you this kind of flexibility and firepower. What are you gonna do? Pay $300,000 more to go bounty hunting in a freelancer? Yeah, that's gonna work out well. How about picking up some Laranite with the Hornet? It costs more, it has less range, 1 less hardpoint, and only carries 2 SCU at a time. That'll be fun. Oh, and good luck getting that mining rock on the M50. In fact, you're not actually going to find a more versatile ship until around the 3.5 million mark, with the Constellation Andromeda. And to be frank, if it's a question of driving around in this, or driving around in this, I'll take the Cuddy every time. At least if I'm flying solo. Because this is an undeniably good-looking ship, with an undeniably good set of guns, for an undeniably good price. It just happens to be a bastard. I don't like this ship, but I do respect it. And I'm still gonna fly it. It's just too useful not to. And besides, you know how it goes. If you're gonna gamble with your life, always bet on black.